Hey everyone, my name is Christopher. Welcome to Seriously Star Wars. On this channel, I do weekly Star Wars reviews, and sometimes I do Star Wars ranking videos just like this one, so if you are new here, consider subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, so today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal reviews. As the title says, I'm going to be ranking the Star Wars movies from worst to best, but I'm only going to be ranking the 11 live-action theatrical releases, so episodes 1 through 9, and Rogue One and Solo. So starting at the bottom of the list, at number 11 is Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Now there were a lot of things I really liked about this movie. I really liked the whole plot to assassinate Senator Amidala storyline. It was a catalyst to get the movie going. It really kicked things off. I really enjoyed everything that happened on Coruscant, from the speeder chase to the foot chase into the nightclub where Obi-Wan and Anakin are looking for Zam Weasel, and she comes up behind Obi-Wan and he slashes her. When they bring her out, Anakin's just showing that anger and that little bit of that darkness in him when he's interrogating her. I loved everything that happened on Kamino, from the whole interrogation with Obi-Wan and the cloners, and seeing the clones at different stages from the young clones up to the full-grown adults. I enjoyed seeing Jango Fett in his quarters with the young Boba Fett and seeing their relationship there. And of course I loved the battle between Jango Fett and Obi-Wan, and seeing Slave One in action blowing Obi-Wan off of the landing platform. That was just amazing stuff to see. Of course, I loved everything on Tatooine, from meeting up with Watto again to seeing a young Beru and Owen Lars on the Lars homestead. Just going back to Tatooine is always nostalgic. Anakin flying away on the speeder to look for his mother, not being able to save his mother, pushing him towards the dark side even more with that anger and that rage, blaming Obi-Wan for holding him back. That was great. I loved all the stuff on Geonosis, from the dogfight through the asteroids between Jango Fett and Obi-Wan, and Jango Fett dropping those seismic charges, which was a very memorable sound and visual in the movie theater. The whole Padme and Anakin sneaking through the droid foundries of Geonosis, and Anakin cutting through all the battle droids like they're butter. The whole arena battle with the battle droids and all the Jedi, that was very epic. Of course, you get to see Mace Windu in action, finally killing some battle droids and taking care of Jango Fett. You get Count Dooku, who is a great villain in this movie. A little sad that he didn't have more screen time in it. And of course, music by John Williams was incredible as always, and the visuals were epic. Some of the things I didn't like was the love story between Anakin and Padme. It felt very forced at times and wasn't very believable at all. The battle at Geonosis, after the main arena battle, it seemed to drag on a little bit too long, so that was one thing that I didn't like. And then I also didn't like that we didn't get Count Dooku until late in the movie, when they should have brought him into the movie a whole lot earlier. Like, he was mentioned, but you didn't get to see him until pretty much the last quarter of the movie. Coming next at number 10 is Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. And I really enjoyed pretty much everything about this movie. It's a great coming-of-age movie. It had a great villain in Darth Vader. He's so menacing, and him showing up on screen for the first time was very epic. I love the whole relationship dynamic between Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker. I also love the relationship that Chewie and Han Solo had. Obi-Wan playing the mentor to Luke and showing him the ways of the Force. That was great. The whole sneaking around the Death Star and everything that happened on the Death Star was awesome. The space battle, the dog fights, the trench run, Luke blowing up the Death Star, that was amazing. The only thing I didn't like as much was the slow pacing of the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and that's only because it was the first Star Wars movie on screen, the first lightsaber duel we've seen on screen. But overall, A New Hope didn't have anything bad going for it. It's still a very entertaining movie. It's a great movie. Just everything else that has come after it, both on my list and release-wise, was more entertaining for myself visually and story-wise. So coming in at number 9, I have Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and this movie holds a special place in my heart. It's the first Star Wars movie that I saw at the midnight showing. It's got a great story, great special effects, it's very entertaining. I loved everything that happens on Naboo at the beginning of the movie, the whole Trade Federation moving in and blockading the planet's resources. The battle droids looked epic as they're all marching in like military style. I enjoyed the character of Jar Jar Binks. I didn't find him annoying like a lot of people do. Of course, seeing R2-D2 again was very nostalgic. Seeing Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn cutting droids in half like they're butter and doing all these fancy Jedi moves like we've never seen before. That was epic. Everything on Tatooine was great. The bargaining for the hyperdrive generator at Watto's shop. Of course, the pod race was epic. The lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul was epic. Of course, the bits of nostalgia on Tatooine as well when you see Jabba the Hutt and Bib Fortuna, who we haven't seen since Return of the Jedi. Seeing everything on Coruscant was awesome. The Jedi Council, all the Jedi, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Yoda, of course. The Senate, of course, was awesome to see, and of course it had little bits of nostalgia there. You see the Wookiees, you see E.T., of course. The final battle on Naboo between the Gungans and the battle droids was just epic. That being interlaced with the space battle with Anakin taking on the Droid Federation control ship, and then of course that lightsaber duel, that fast-paced, high-intensity lightsaber duel between two young Jedi and the young Sith apprentice Darth Maul. And Darth Maul is such an awesome villain. He's an awesome character. I wish we had more time with him in this movie. Of course, the music for this whole movie was just epic, especially the duel of the fates. I think my only dislikes about the movie is that watching it over time, some of the special effects haven't aged well. And then I really wish we had more Darth Maul, but that's pretty much it for The Phantom Menace. So next up at number 8 is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and this was a very epic movie. I really enjoyed this movie. The whole dynamic between Poe and Rey and Finn, that was just awesome to see finally, with the three of them and the banter back and forth. Everything between Kylo Ren and Rey was just awesome. That whole Force dyad stuff was amazing. It really took what The Last Jedi set up and took that to a whole new level with being able to reach through the Force and grab an object from the other person. That was just fun to see. That was awesome. Everything with Rey was amazing. Seeing her doing her Jedi training and her new Force abilities, using Force Heal on the big screen for the first time was just awesome. The visual effects were stunning, and you can't talk about the visual effects without talking about Princess Leia, which I loved her role in the movie, and I'm actually very impressed with what they did with Princess Leia after Carrie Fisher's passing. I love how they brought back Palpatine to be the main villain in this movie and in the sequel trilogy, and it just makes so much sense to have the Palpatine as the main bad guy across the entire Skywalker saga, and it's really is a story about Skywalkers versus the Palpatines, and it just makes so much sense to have Palpatine back. I love how they brought up the Holdo maneuver from The Last Jedi and how they made that a 1 in a million maneuver. I love C-3PO in this movie. He's very comedic, but it's very subtle comedy, so I love that we got that side of C-3PO in this movie. And speaking of droids, I love the new character of Dio. He's a very adorable droid. I loved everything with the Sith Wayfinder and that being the path to Exegol and Kylo Ren finding his way there, and then Rey finding the dagger and finding the way to the Wayfinder on the wreckage of the second Death Star on one of the moons of Endor, and that whole lightsaber battle between Rey and Kylo Ren on the wreckage of the Death Star, that was amazing. That whole scene on the second Death Star with Han Solo and Kylo Ren, and it's mimicking word for word the scene from The Force Awakens between the two of them, except this time it ends in Kylo Ren turning towards the light side, and then of course that emotional Kylo Ren line, Dad, and he just can't get the words out, and Han Solo just says, I know. Very reminiscent of the whole Han Solo and Princess Leia, I love you, I know scene from Empire Strikes Back. The character of Zori Bliss was awesome, and her relationship with Poe and how she's just this snarky person, and she gives Poe this attitude all the time, and that was just awesome to see. I really liked the character of General Pride. He's a very menacing character and a really nice addition to the Star Wars galaxy. It was awesome to see Luke Skywalker come back, this time as a Force ghost, and lift the X-Wing out of the water, very much like Yoda did in The Empire Strikes Back. And the theme for Yoda was playing during this, so this was very, very awesome to see. Very epic moment in the movie. I loved all the nostalgia and the fan service and bringing back Wedge Antilles and the Falcon, seeing Lando again, of course, seeing all those ships arrive in that final battle on Exegol. That was just epic, and that gives me the chills every time I see that scene in the movie. The battle between Palpatine and Rey and Kylo, that was awesome. The whole passing the lightsaber through the Force, the whole Rey finding the will to fight Palpatine after she reaches out through the Force and asks for the all these other Force ghosts of Mace Windu and Kanan Jarrus and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan and all these Jedi that have fallen before her, and they all reach out to the Force and give her the power to defeat Palpatine. That was awesome to hear all those voices, and very nostalgic as well. The final celebration back at the Resistance base, that was awesome to see. It was very reminiscent of the final celebration on Endor at the end of Return of the Jedi. And then of course the ending scene, I love that. The whole Rey flying back to Tatooine and going to the Lars homestead and burying the lightsabers in the sand, leaving it open for another movie. And then of course a lady coming along and asking who she is, and Rey responds, "I'm Rey." And of course the lady says, "Rey who?" And Rey says, "Rey Skywalker." That was just a perfect ending to the Skywalker saga. A couple of things I didn't really like is just how much stuff was crammed into this one movie. It really felt like too much at times. Like there's enough action, enough content, enough story to be spread across two movies, but it was crammed into one movie. And then also I didn't like how they handled the character of General Hux. In the previous two movies, he was this menacing force to be reckoned with in the First Order, and this movie he kind of just laid down and he was this traitor. I didn't really like what they did with that character. So at number 7 I have Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and this was the first Star Wars movie on the big screen since Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, in 2005, and this was just all around an entertaining movie. I love the whole Kylo Ren and Rey relationship in this movie, also the relationship between Finn and Rey as well. I really liked General Hux and as well Supreme Leader Snoke. They're both very menacing characters in this movie. I like the scene on Starkiller Base where Han Solo and Kylo Ren meet up there and Kylo kills Han Solo. That was just I feel like it was the perfect ending for Han Solo. He sacrificed himself to try and guide his son to the light side of the Force. The whole battle on Starkiller Base was epic. The lightsaber battle between Kylo Ren and Finn, and then Kylo Ren and Rey, that was just one of the best lightsaber battles I have seen. And of course the music by John Williams was just incredible as always. And of course that ending where you just get that shot of Luke Skywalker and Rey handing him the lightsaber and no words are mentioned. That's it. The end of the movie, you're left with that cliffhanger. That was awesome. I really liked how The Force Awakens was very similar to A New Hope and The Phantom Menace as well, so it's like George Lucas said, it's like poetry. Every stanza kind of repeats itself. My only dislike about The Force Awakens was that it left so many questions unanswered still to this date. Like, how did Maz Kanata get Luke Skywalker's lightsaber after he lost it in Cloud City? So next on my list at number 6 is Solo, a Star Wars story, and this was a very entertaining movie. It's Star Wars mixed with a heist movie. It was just all around a good movie. I loved how Alden Ehrenreich portrayed Han Solo. He did an awesome job at that without impersonating Harrison Ford. I love the relationship between Han and Chewie and how they first met and seeing how they became this duo that we know and love. And of course Donald Glover as Lando, that was the perfect casting choice there. And of course L337, she was this sassy sidekick droid for Lando. And of course now she's part of the Millennium Falcon. When Han speaks to the Falcon, this kind of gives that some backstory. I love all the little subtle bits of comedy in this movie. It's not just over the top comedy thrown at you. It's very subtle, and I love that about this movie. And of course I love the new characters in this movie. Rio, Val, they were awesome. Beckett was just great. Like Woody Harrelson did such a great job as Beckett. Dryden Voss, he was a perfect villain for this movie. Paul Bettany did an awesome job. And then of course we get Enfys Nest, who at the beginning of the movie we think is a bad guy trying to get in the way of Beckett's plans, but we realize later in the movie that she's just someone who's a rebel against the Imperial cause. I loved everything about Kira and how at the beginning of the movie she's Han Solo's love interest, and then by the end of the movie she's so trapped in with Dryden Voss and Crimson Dawn. And the music, of course, by John Powell was incredible throughout this movie, and it felt very Star Wars. And then at the end you get that big Darth Maul reveal, and it just leaves the movie open for another sequel. So please, Disney, please make Solo 2 happen. I would say my only dislike about this movie is that they killed off Val and Rio too soon, and that's probably about it. So at number 5, I have Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and this was another Star Wars movie that I didn't really have any complaints about. The only minor thing is that they killed everyone off at the end, and I feel like they would have gotten away with letting a couple of the characters live on to see another day in another Star Wars movie. But I enjoyed everything about this movie. It was a great story, a great lead up to A New Hope. It answered that question about the exhaust port and the Death Star and why was that even put there, and answered the question about who stole the Death Star plans and how they were stolen and why they were stolen. I liked the characters in this movie: Baze, Chirrut, Brody, of course Cassian and K2 were awesome. Jyn Erso, that character was amazing. And of course, director Krennic, he was such a great villain in this movie. And then of course you get Darth Vader on Mustafar and his castle on Mustafar there. That was awesome to see. And of course bringing back Grand Moff Tarkin through the use of CGI, I thought that was done really well. And of course the Princess Leia scene at the end of the movie as well for the CGI. That was awesome. Seeing the Death Star being built and seeing how massive it is compared to those Star Destroyers, that was amazing to see. Of course, the battle at Scarif, both on the land and the space battle, is probably one of the best space battles I've seen next to Return of the Jedi. And of course, the battle on the surface of Scarif, that was awesome. We've never seen a battle take place on a tropical sandy planet before, so that was really awesome. Jyn and Cassian and K2 sneaking into the Citadel on Scarif and stealing the plans and transmitting them to the Admiral Raddus. That was awesome. And of course the music by Michael Giacchino, it just fit perfectly for this movie. Overall, just an awesome Star Wars film. Alright, so I know this next movie ranking, I know this is where a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but that's completely fine. But at number 4, I have Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And this movie, for me, this was the best movie of the sequel trilogy. It had so much going for it. It did so many things different. The whole opening scene with the space battle against the Dreadnought, that was awesome. The visual effects in this movie were amazing. I loved everything between Kylo Ren and Rey and how their minds were bridged together by Supreme Leader Snoke, and that they could still sense each other even after Snoke was killed. They could still sense each other. I love their Force connection overall, and just all the scenes that they're in together they were just phenomenal. I really liked Snoke in this movie, and he just makes such a great villain in this movie, much better than The Force Awakens. I really enjoyed all the stuff with General Leia and her role in the movie, and of course Poe and trying to be the hot shot and trying to take over, and of course Admiral Holdo. She was great. I love the relationship between Finn and Rose and their little side mission to Canto Bight to try and find a master codebreaker. I really loved Luke Skywalker's character arc in this movie. He went from this broken down old man of a Jedi who realized he failed his sister and his brother-in-law by being the reason that his nephew turned to the dark side, and he went from that point to the end of the movie where he realized, yeah, I failed. I can help though, and he helped the Resistance. He gave them enough time to escape. I love the new Force powers that Luke has in this movie, just making him that much more of a powerful Jedi. Being able to Force project his image across a galaxy to help the Resistance, that was awesome to see. Seeing Yoda come back, of course, as a Force ghost and be the cause of that lightning strike that set the fire to the ancient Jedi temple. That was awesome. We had never seen anything like that on a Star Wars movie. That was awesome. The visual effects in this movie were amazing, and this movie has by far some of the best visuals in any Star Wars movie, in my opinion. The music by John Williams, of course, was incredible as always. The whole side mission to Canto Bight looking for a master codebreaker, that was awesome. It was very entertaining and visually appealing. The Holdo maneuver, that was a very memorable moment, both sound-wise and visual-wise. I would say my only dislikes about the movie are the character of DJ. I don't think he was portrayed well. And then also, even though I really enjoyed the side mission to Canto Bight for a master codebreaker, I didn't feel like it was necessary to the story, and the story could have happened without that side mission. So at number 3 on my list, I have Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And this movie, for me, it was just so awesome. The visuals were amazing. The music, of course, was incredible. The special effects were amazing as well. I loved the opening scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin flying their Jedi starfighters and rescuing the Chancellor from General Grievous. The character of General Grievous was awesome. He was very menacing. I love everything with him in it. I love the Jedi duel between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku. That was a step above the last duels that we saw in Attack of the Clones. The whole rescuing of the Chancellor, that was exciting. The relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin was awesome. I love their banter back and forth. You can really tell that their relationship has matured and they're really like brothers. Everything with Palpatine and how he's doing everything to get Anakin to turn to the dark side. Just awesome to see on screen. Anakin's turn to the dark side as well as the execution of Order 66 were very emotional, but it was also very awesome to see on screen. Of course, everything on Mustafar, the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin, so emotional, so awesome to see, so epic. You get to see a lightsaber duel between Palpatine and two of the greatest Jedi ever, Mace Windu and Yoda. Seeing Anakin get that Darth Vader armor for the first time was awesome. Seeing Padme give birth to the twins Luke and Leia, that was amazing. And then, of course, that ending scene where Obi-Wan takes Luke to Owen and Beru Lars on Tatooine, that was just amazing. The only thing I really disliked about the movie was the love story. I felt it was a little bit too sappy at times. At number 2 on my list is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and I don't really have any dislikes about this movie. I really enjoyed pretty much everything. I enjoyed everything that happened on Tatooine, from R2-D2 and C-3PO knocking on that gigantic door at Jabba's palace, Princess Leia showing up at Jabba's palace disguised as Bosch the bounty hunter, bringing Chewbacca along, trying to rescue Han Solo. We see Lando in disguise there. Then Luke Skywalker himself shows up trying to rescue Han Solo, and he gets tossed into the pit with a Rancor, and they have a little bit of a fight. That's all awesome. I love all the stuff that happens at the Dune Sea, where Jabba tries to execute Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Chewbacca, but Luke Skywalker, being the trained Jedi that he is, ruins that plan. Everything on Dagobah was so emotional, from Luke Skywalker learning that Darth Vader is his father, Yoda dying, becoming one with the Force, Obi-Wan telling Luke that Leia is his sister. Everything on Endor was awesome. The battle between the Ewoks and the Stormtroopers was just amazing. You get that space battle above Endor, which in my opinion is the best space battle in Star Wars. You have Lando Calrissian, General Lando Calrissian himself, leading the battle. And of course you get that classic Admiral Akbar line, "It's a trap." Then you mix that with the very emotional lightsaber duel between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader on the second Death Star. You have Emperor Palpatine trying to get Luke Skywalker to turn to the dark side. And then you have Darth Vader, who senses Luke has a sister, and he tells Luke that if he won't turn to the dark side, perhaps she will. And Luke attacks with such rage and such emotion and almost kills Darth Vader and stops himself before he can do any more wrong. Just an amazing scene in an amazing movie. And then you get that final scene on Endor, the big celebration with the Ewoks and the rebel troops there, and you get the Force ghosts of Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda show up. And I really love how they swapped Hayden Christensen in for Sebastian Shaw in that scene. It really helps connect the prequel trilogy to the original trilogy. The visual effects in this movie were top-notch at the time, and they still hold up pretty well today. And then, of course, the music by John Williams, incredible as always. And finally, number 1 on my list, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And in my opinion, this is the best Star Wars movie, and my personal favorite. It's got everything going for it. It's got a fantastic story. The visual effects are incredible. The music, of course, is phenomenal. Of course, everything on Hoth was amazing. You get to see Han and Luke riding the Tauntauns. Of course, you get to see the Wampa strike Luke and take him back to the cave, and you get that iconic scene where Luke's hanging upside down in the ice cave, and he force summons the lightsaber and gets himself out and slices the Wampa's arm off. Of course, the battle at Hoth was super awesome. You get to see the rebels and their snow speeders take on the Empire and their AT-AT walkers. I loved everything about Han Solo and Princess Leia in this movie. Their relationship really grew to the next level. Their love story, it never felt forced. It felt very organic and believable. Seeing Luke fly to Dagobah and meeting Yoda for the first time was awesome. Seeing him do his Jedi training with Yoda And of course he goes into that cave and has that Force vision of Darth Vader. Of course you get that epic chase through the asteroid field, which ends with Han, Leia, Chewie, and 3PO going into that cave, which doesn't end up being a cave, it ends up being a monster. And then you get that scene of Darth Vader with the bounty hunters on the Star Destroyer, and you get to see my favorite Star Wars character, Boba Fett. Of course you get all that stuff at Cloud City, which is so awesome. You get to meet Lando for the first time, played so well by Billy D. Williams. He's so cool and so calm and so suave. And then you get that epic lightsaber duel between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and that unexpected twist where Darth Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father. And then you get to the end of the movie where Lando and Chewie head off to find Han Solo, and Luke and Leia are on the medical frigate. You're left with not a very happy ending. Everything's not sunshine and rainbows, which is great. That's why I love the ending. But that does it for my rankings of the Star Wars movies. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings, and let me know what your personal rankings of the Star Wars movies are. If you did go on to enjoy this video, feel free to hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more Star Wars content. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.